I pressed the button.
I believed in you the whole time, Shelby.
Thank you. It's my kindergarten education. I can only do so much.
Right.
But big red buttons are A+. Real good at those.
Do you have one of those smart boards, or are you? Have they
I
moved
have
on from that?
I have a projector and an Apple TV.
Gotcha.
Wow.
So, because it connects to my iPad and my MacBook that they gave me.
So you fancy, huh?
Fancy.
It's much better than the charter school I was at. They handed me a Chromebook and said, "Have fun." I was like, okay.
You do actually have more fun with Chrome, anyways. So
I didn't like Chromebooks, but that's because I'm an Apple girl.
Me too.
Hateful.
Sad. It's all propaganda.
Okay, so now
Look, this is my unofficial work phone. It's an iPhone 4 that I only have Microsoft Authenticator installed on, and I just keep it next to my computer. That's the only Apple product. Or my wife has an iPad, but those don't count.
those don't count.
Although I will say my MacBook Pro made it mostly unscathed through Hurricane Michael, but then the hard drive went out on it. Not from water damage.
My hard drive went out too. It's okay.
Yeah.
On that note, we are here to talk NFL. So that's exciting. So let's see who is currently on a roster from your school that you're excited about. And why is Russell Wilson?
Let's start in alphabetical order. How's that sound?
Alphabet. I have to.
So that would be Shelby.
I can see the Alabama and I was more talking about the school.
Yeah, exactly.
The Alabama and Arkansas fan are just like, wait,
our names.
I was trying to figure out which one goes first. Because letters are hard. Okay.
Oh, A&M.
Okay, says the boy who looked at me and said, "Doesn't that mean A&M goes first?" No, we start with a T. Thank you very much.
It's called sarcasm. It's called joking.
Okay.
I'm sure A&M doesn't.
They don't. They are very serious people. It's part of the jump in process for the Colt. You have to just swear off sarcasm.
Initiation process.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think Shelby's very tired because of the midnight yells. They don't get sleep, so that deprives the brain activity. So
that's a good point.
Midnight yell is my favorite activity. Thank you very much. I miss midnight yell.
Oh my goodness.
Why can't you guys just wake up at 9 a.m. and get drunk all day like the rest of the colleges in the SEC?
Yeah, okay.
Like the rest of us.
Yeah,
I can tell you we do that too.
Why are you staying up and you stay up until 2:00 getting ready for the next day? You wake up at 8 or 9 feeling like shit. Then you go to the stadium and you get drunk all day, and then you go to the game. And then if you win, you can celebrate with drunken exuberance. And if you lose, you keep drinking and forget about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
You guys you're no longer the new kid on the block in the SEC, but you obviously got a lot to learn about how the SEC celebrates on Saturdays, Shelby.
We do our own thing. You should know this by now.
I do. I would say I respect it, but yeah, I respect it. So I didn't realize. I'm sorry. We number one are now 4.5 minutes in, and we still haven't
brought up an NFL
talk
player.
about the NFL. But I didn't realize you guys blew up your stadium in 2013 to add 20,000 more seats. Yeah. I knew Kyle Field had 100 and something thousand seats. I didn't realize you guys added that many seats right before you came to the SEC.
Well, no, it was after.
It was 2013, so I guess a year after y'all came over.
No, it was 2015, I believe. That we blew
close
up.
enough. That's close enough.
Because I was in school when it blew up.
So the reason why I even came across this is because Florida just announced they're doing a pretty massive renovation to the Swamp. and people are like, "Oh my God, we can't lose any seats. We have to add seats." And somebody was like, "Oh, well, Texas A&M added seats to theirs the last time they renovated." And I looked it up, and I was like, "Wait, you guys are complaining about losing maybe a couple thousand seats, and you want to preserve the Swamp's original integrity and fix it and all this stuff?" They blew their stadium up. Like, if we blow our stadiums up, we can add seats, sure, but then you're losing your stadium, you know? But yeah, I didn't realize that. That's pretty wild for you guys to just blow a quarter of your stadium up and just put a bunch of brand new shit in there.
It is the house that Johnny built, and I will die on that hill.
You've said that before, and it makes a lot more sense now.
People get like old Ags get real upset because they're like, "No, we all worked together," and blah. I'm like, no, Johnny won a Heisman, and we built a new stadium. That's what happened.
I love me some Johnny.
Don't we all? I'm so ready.
Johnny Unitas, maybe.
I'm so ready for his Netflix special.
Me too.
Another thing old Ags are real upset about.
Oh, that's going to be more enjoyable than the Kirk Cousins one.
The one that's on now? Or are you talking about a different one?
Yeah, the one with quarterbacks with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Oh, man. Kirk Cousins. He's so cringe. Every time they show him. Like, Patrick Mahomes just seems like a cool, normal dude. Marcus Mariota, like, I almost feel kind of bad for him because I know, like, how it turns out for him in the season. But his wife is really supportive. They seem that really. And then Kirk Cousins, just the whole time, I'm like, oh my God, this dude is literally mayonnaise. Like, he is the whitest person I've ever met in my life. Like, he is
like whiter than
definition of mayonnaise. Oh yeah.
Okay.
You got to watch it, and every scene with Kirk Cousins, you're just like, oh my God.
I think I'll be okay.
Yeah. So back to the topic, Michael. We'll start with Alabama.
We have to appreciate this comment right here. Hold on. If it'll press the button.
This is coming from a Miami fan, so I'm not even going to acknowledge that. You have to make it. No offense here, Shelby, but you have to make a bowl game to comment on this show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, Miami still has fans.
See, they don't actually go to the game. They just post on social media a lot. You would think it's kind of like UCF, right? Like, you would think by how active they are on social media and in comments that they would have a packed stadium every game. And then you tune in to, a regular Saturday noon game with like Miami versus Middle Tennessee State or something. And you realize that they have 10,000 fans in the stadium to watch them lose to a G5 team. Which I guess that's better than 100,000 in your stadium to watch you lose to a G5 team.
Proud of it. It happens.
It does, yeah. Georgia Southern still hurts pretty bad.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, what player are you excited about that plays in the NFL for your team? And Ethan, why isn't Marco Wilson?
Oh, how
favorite
dare you.
Player.
Number one, how dare you? I mean, if I have to start this off, I will gladly do so. I would say my favorite former player. So on the field, it would be Dameon Pierce. Maybe that's a little recency bias, but I really liked him at Florida. He's from Bainbridge, and that's pretty close to where I used to work. I grew up, know people from Bainbridge, and I thought that was cool. And then there's the picture of him in his last game against Florida State where his helmet comes off and he like rushes for a touchdown. And obviously it gets called back, but the picture of his like helmetless face while he's like carrying the ball looks really cool. But personality wise, I would say Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is like the craziest, maybe one of the craziest guys in the NFL. And for me with him, like, I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was either 2018 or 2019 when Baker Mayfield planted the flag at Ohio State. And then like every team in the country tried to do that when they beat their rival. They'd want to go and plant the flag. Well, in 2018, I guess it was 2017 with Mayfield. But anyways, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson wanted to plant the flag at FSU Stadium after we beat them. And it almost started a brawl. Like everybody on both sides was like on the middle of the field, and all of the coaches were just like separating everybody. Dan Mullen like grabbed him and was like, "No, we're not going to do that." and everybody kind of separated, but you could tell that like had he managed to make it to the 50-yard line and put that flag in, there may have been a full-on brawl. Again, we haven't had a good Florida State brawl in a while.
All the
Those
Texas,
would be my two favorite right now.
I say all of Texas. What was it? To last year or 2 years ago that everybody got the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty in the Red River because they had a brawl before the game even started. That is old level hatred right there.
That happened to us. I want to say it was against Missouri, and like our entire sideline got an unsportsmanlike penalty, and then one of our players got an unsportsmanlike penalty later on in the game and got ejected, and everybody was just like, "What the hell? How did this happen?" And then the referees had to remind everybody, like, "By the way, your entire team got an unsportsmanlike penalty, and so at that point, if you get another one, you just get ejected." And everybody was just so confused. But Florida, that's Florida football for you in a nutshell.
I'm Missouri
right there.
though.
Of all teams, Missouri.
Yeah.
I don't remember what. I know that like it was something at halftime, and I think that somebody said something to somebody else, and then like some punches were thrown, and it kind of escalated. And that's what started the whole Dan Mullen and the Darth Vader mask thing. And then Eli Drinkwitz the next year had the lightsaber or whatever. The game before the Darth Vader mask, or maybe it was the Darth Vader. I don't remember. I try to block out the Mullen era, but that kind of was what started. Was they felt like we were instigating them. We felt like they were being dirty or something, and then people were jawing, and a couple of guys got into it, and then the whole sideline started to come out and got a unsportsmanlike for it.
Well, there you go.
They're fighting with Missouri. That's what we do.
Damn it, Missouri. I'll go. My favorite human being on this planet will forever be Von Miller. Just because, like, the guy loves A&M. Like, every single interview, thanks and gig him. We're like, all right, Von loves us. We love you too, Von.
So is that Russell Wilson like
Let's
what are you on
ride.
Broncos country?
That's right.
Yeah.
Is it as cringe as Broncos country though?
No.
I'll let the other fans decide that.
So number one, I don't know if I've ever seen a Von Miller interview where he's done that or said that. Not that he doesn't. I don't think I've ever actually seen one of his interviews. That video you're talking about with Russell Wilson, I don't know if you can top that. Like, that's really one of the just most forced, cringy things that there has come through sports media in a while from a very kind of cringe, corny guy.
On a quick side note, and not the spur away, but I'm a Seahawks fan. So we've had him, he said, go Seahawks. That meant something. But whenever he did it for Denver, it was forced. It was cringy. So that was like, really? And he almost said go Seahawks in his first press conference with Denver. That's what made it even more funny. Jeez. What made it even more funny was him losing all of those games and giving us the 5th overall pick.
Yeah, that was I have him as my starting quarterback in my fantasy league. So, yeah, I was pretty sad to see him lose all those games too. Did you see Aaron Rodgers tell him to keep his coach's name out of his mouth? Because it was Sean Payton. Sean Payton said that like it was like the worst coach team that he's ever seen last year.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong, but
then maybe you should say things
not
like
very
that.
nice. What you don't how would you feel if Daniel Hackett said that about you?
What I learned is if you don't have anything nice to say about the Denver Broncos, it's probably about Nathaniel Hackett. So
let's see. Then you have the guys that don't claim A&M, the Bennett brothers. No interest in claiming A&M. Apparently, they were called racial slurs at A&M multiple times, which doesn't surprise me. Because when they went to A&M, like that time, it's not that it's gotten that much better, but long ago, like at that point, it was really bad. Conservative-wise. So,
I have an A&M question about one of your players in the pros.
yes.
How sad are you going to be when Mike Evans gets like 200 receiving yards, playing all 17 games this season, either for Baker Mayfield or Kyle freaking Trask. I'm sorry, Ethan.
Oh,
I'm rooting for him, but
That's
I
gonna be a
understand.
train wreck.
I hope Mike Evans still does well because Mike, and now people will start a whole argument that Mike Evans is the reason Johnny was good and this, that, and the other. But I love Mike Evans. He is one of the very first players that I really watched at A&M. So, like, that would break my heart.
I can't believe they picked up Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, they should have just went with
Why?
Trask. Like,
It's gonna be a train.
I'm sad. It's going to be a train wreck regardless of what direction they go in. But Baker
Mhm.
Mayfield, it's like Baker Mayfield. Not only will he give you a train wreck, he'll also come back and like piss on the burning ashes and just be like, "Oh yeah, that's Baker Mayfield." Later, and then go to some other team to do it again.
He really should have stayed with the Rams to build that continuity because I do not have any faith that Matthew Stafford is going to stay healthy, not in a bad way, but he's old. His back is really bad right now. I mean, we saw Cooper Kupp. I mean, I knew for an instant that Cooper Kupp's not going to be reliable this year, and he's going to be out for several weeks. Thank God he's going to probably miss week 1, not to put any curses on us. But yeah, I wish that he stayed with the Rams,
I thought he was doing okay with the Rams too.
and that's why I think he should have stayed.
Yeah, I'm with you.
My recent Aggie is a Cowboy, and he's injured, so now I'm sad. Donovan Wilson has a calf strain, also known as every time Donovan Wilson moves, it's a targeting penalty. Literally, there is a quote from Jay Sternberger. I think it was my junior year that he goes, "All I know is if Donovan Wilson would have done that, he would have gotten arrested." We were like, "Yeah, probably." All right, who
All right.
else wants to go? Alabama.
Who wants to go next?
I guess Alabama will go.
You do have the most to choose from.
Well, I do have the most to choose from. I do have one interesting little tidbit. So, outside of Amari Cooper, who's the highest paid Alabama player in the league, can you guess who the second one is? You probably will never guess. It's not a quarterback, and it's not Derrick Henry.
Ryan Kelly.
Mm-mm.
I can't think of very many Alabama players off the top of my head. It just went blank.
Kareem Jackson. Just that random like elite 1-year corner for us, and now he's with Denver, so they're overpaying some of their defensive players because that's all they got. But I will say I feel bad for Amari Cooper. He plays for the Cleveland Browns, and not because of the fact that the Browns' history and what they do. I hate Deshaun Watson so freaking much.
Oh, don't we all?
How that guy? Like,
Dude,
That guy.
is
not
there
everyone.
another player in recent memory who went from being a mostly well-regarded, well-liked person to just universally hated and still gets to keep playing?
I don't know.
Like, that
Their
guy.
other option at quarterback is Kellen Mond, just so you know.
The Rams?
No, we're talking about
No,
quarterback, not
Browns.
running back.
Oh.
No, the Browns.
No, I know. They need another quarterback, not a running back.
Oh,
But going back to my Bama players, I think everyone likes to say Marlon Humphrey or Derrick Henry, which I freaking love Derrick Henry. But one of my favorite all-time players back at Alabama was Jonathan Allen. When he did the Superman sack on Johnny Manziel, that was just a beauty.
Was that
And
2013 or 2012?
That was 2018, I believe.
Johnny Manziel?
No.
Michael's living in a different
2016.
timeline than us.
2016 is still not Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel was 12 and 13.
I'm getting my years mixed up. I got baby brain right now. So
Understandable.
2016 would be depends on what game in 2016, would be Trevor Knight or
Maybe it was against Knight.
Well, was that Kenny Trill Hill?
no, that was my freshman year. That was 2014.
Gotcha.
Man, what is?
We went through some serious quarterbacks while I was at A&M. That's why I told Lauren, my sister, I said, you got the good end of the stick. You had Kellen Mond. And that was at least like normal and regular. We didn't have that.
It was still 2016. My year was right the second time, I guess, but yeah.
Different
I
quarterback.
blame the kid in there. So.
Yeah.
But I will say Jonathan Allen for sure. I really want Bryce Young to win, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Will Anderson, my boy, is probably Defensive Rookie of the Year. One player I really want to succeed more than anybody else in the NFL, and that includes anyone on my Seahawks, is Tua, because he gets so much shit for no reason. Like, I understand that he went in the same draft as Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. I have a very hot take about Herbert that I'll get to later. But with Tua, people said that, he can't throw the ball deep. He's not accurate. Next year, he was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. Okay, he still can't pass the ball deep. This past year, one of the deepest, most accurate quarterbacks in the league. Number 2, can you guess behind who? My boy, Geno Smith. But and now they're saying he can't stay healthy. He can't, he can't stay on the field. And yeah, the concussions kind of suck. But I mean, I'm sorry, but he's been running for his life his entire freaking career at Miami. So is Ryan Fitzpatrick, if you haven't seen. First game that Teddy Bridgewater played while Tua was out, he got injured. And Miami almost won that playoff game versus Buffalo with their third string quarterback, Skylar Thompson. If Tua or even Teddy played, they would have won. So Miami needs to get their offensive line figured out. Austin Jackson is god awful, and he's a first rounder.
Miami hasn't had a decent offensive line since the Richie Incognito, Jonathan Martin stuff happened.
Oof.
They just got permanently jinxed to always have a bad offensive line after that.
And we got, I think, Connor Martin from Dallas a year ago.
Oh, what? No, that's not. What was his name?
Was it Connor Martin?
No, I can't think of his name now, but I know who you're talking about.
And he's only had the.
So he wasn't good either.
Well, he wasn't good for Dallas. Nobody is good for Dallas. Oh, that's right. You're a Cowboys fan.
Every day of my life.
Look, you guys blame it on yourself. You guys blame it on Jerry. As long as you have Jerry Jones as your GM, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Letting Amari Cooper go was probably the dumbest thing we ever done.
What, trade him for a 4th round pick?
That is a fact.
Yeah. Facts.
Incredible work.
The Zeke deal was pretty bad too, and was immediately everybody said that's way too much money to give to a running back, and then it just trickles down to where you have your Zach Martin wanting more money. You start to lose your defensive players. It just kind of starts to trickle down from there. So now you have the Zeke contract, which was awful, and now Dak's contract, which is most likely going to end up being awful. But, a top flight quarterback, Daniel Jones makes $40 million a year. So Dak's worth
Which
$40
is
million a
stupid,
year.
by the way.
Yeah.
I hate Ezekiel Elliott. I have serious beef with him. And he took a visit with the Patriots, and I'm not happy about it.
Are you a Patriots fan?
Yeah.
Well, he's probably not going to sign with them.
No.
He's probably going to be wanting like multiple. I'm thinking $12 million deal somewhere. I don't know who's stupid enough.
The only thing I like about Ezekiel Elliott, and it's not even about him, is the story Dak Prescott will tell about how Ezekiel Elliott got his first check, and it was like a paper check, and he left it in Dak's truck. And Dak's like, please come get this. I have never seen this much money in my fucking life. Like, please come get your shit.
That's awesome.
And I was like, same, Dak, same.
I just feel
so
bad
scared to have that.
I just feel bad that Cowboys fans.
Mine now.
I just feel bad that Cowboys fans and Jerry Jones had to pay a fullback a lot of money. That's all he is right now is a glorified fullback.
Yeah.
My boy
I
Malik
wanna see
Davis,
Bryce Young succeed though at Carolina. That'll be a good one.
I like Bryce Young. Yeah. So I want to let Sydney give us her answers, but then I want to ask a question. Who are
Okay.
your favorite Arky players right now?
My number one is Hunter Henry with the Patriots. I went to school with him like my whole life, basically. Here in Little Rock, when he was with the Chargers, I knew he was going to end up a Patriot. I wanted it so bad. And then it happened, and such a good dude. So number one right now. And Dietrich Wise is also with New England, and he's super fun to watch. Treylon Burks with the Titans. I'm interested to see what they're going to do this year. But I think he'll definitely be a big key. And then you got Brandon Allen backing up the 49ers. A couple linebackers, Bumper Pool with the Panthers, and Drew Sanders with the Broncos. I'm anxious to see if they'll get to do anything this year. But there's a couple.
Bumper Bowl, Carolina is an underrated one. That's gonna be really good to
Yeah. Yeah.
All-time great name too.
Oh, yeah.
Like Storm Duck, and Bumper Pool on one field. That's what the world needs to see.
Yeah.
Roll booty.
I was
And
just
Earl
about to
Booty,
say.
yep.
I was just about to say.
The all-name team.
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask y'all this. So let's go around. We can start with Shelby, but name your favorite player from everybody else's team.
Ooh, I don't have one for everybody else's team. Diggs. Trayvon Diggs.
Yes.
Always. You know my favorite Gator is Marco Wilson.
Stop it. Stop.
Ethan loves me, guys.
Even Marco's parents don't like Marco.
Speaking of Gators, Ethan, do you ever follow up on what Felipe Franks is doing?
He's a tight end for the Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just going back and forth.
Yep.
He's gonna find somewhere that'll work.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, hey, he as a rookie, he converted from a quarterback to a tight end, got snaps, and then came in as an emergency relief quarterback. So,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, as an undrafted free agent, making a 53-man roster, or really even making a practice squad, is really kind of an achievement. And then to actually, I'm not saying anything's ever going to come from this, but yeah, him converting to a tight end.
I love it.
Makes a lot of sense, you know. He was better for you guys than he was for us.
Yeah.
So who's your favorite Arkansas player, Shelby?
I can't think of one, honestly. Is that sad?
Just say Darren McFadden. Any Arkansas fans okay?
Oh, we're going
with
past
Darren
now?
McFadden. No, but Shelby can't
Sarah
remember.
McFadden was a Cowboy for a hot minute.
He
There you
was.
go.
He also
and
Felix
got pulled
Jones.
over at a Whataburger in Dallas and got arrested or something.
Or
I
something.
remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I'm trying to remember. I'm over here on Twitter while we're talking because there's an Aggie that plays for the Jets that literally they just posted a picture of him and it looks like he swallowed himself and put on 50 pounds. And I'm like, where did you come from? And I can't think of his name now. I'm gonna figure it out while y'all talk.
All right, well, we'll let Shelby browse Twitter while we do our show. Sydney,
I'm trying to think. I'm doing a
Sydney,
lot
let's
of things at
let's do
once.
the heavy lifting here while Shelby doom scrolls.
Right. I'm trying to think. That's a tough question.
It is.
Would you guys like for me to go then while you guys think?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I have my answers. So you give yours, I can give mine. And we give Sydney and Shelby a little bit of time to.
I figured it out. It was Michael Clemens. They called him the Cyclops at A&M. And I'm not sure why.
Huh.
And I don't think
Maybe
I
it's-
want to know.
Maybe
I
he's
was
a
about to
big
say,
X-Men
I'm not
fan.
sure you want to.
Maybe he's a big X-Men fan. I mean,
Kid
some people like Marvel. So I mean,
he looks like when Miles Garrett like sophomore to junior year, all of a sudden beefed up by like 40 pounds of muscle. And we were like, excuse me? Did you just, what
All
just
of a
happened
sudden.
here? All of a sudden.
So I'm going to go ahead and say I was going to say just throw out a random young Aggie. I do like Kenyon Green. I think what
Yeah.
if he does really well for Houston is going to be a team that maybe actually a riser in the AFC South. I really like what their offense is doing. They got John Mechie, of course. I want to see what he's going to do going into his first real year in the NFL, along with CJ Stroud. And the offensive line, I think, is actually going to be really good.
Kenyon was definitely a big name at A&M.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, and he recruited Cam Dewberry, who is now on our line. So we're hoping he can be a Kenyon Green because we need one. We miss him.
Because I really do want Houston to succeed, get past that whole shitty Deshaun Watson situation. But I like Stroud. I know that Alabama fans aren't supposed to like anything Ohio State. But I like Stroud. He's a good dude. I don't know what the hate was with him. He's just a nice dude. But also, I do think in terms of Arkansas, I blank. I really do hope that Treylon Burks is an awesome number 2 receiver. I think that's the role he needs to be right now, especially with who's it? DeAndre Hopkins coming in. I think that's the perfect situation for him, and he plays just like Hopkins to me, so he can kind of learn from him and become that next player whenever Hopkins gets 2 or 3 years down the road where he's just, not the same guy anymore. Because let's face it, Hopkins is what, 30-something? 31, 32? He's not going to be the same guy anymore. Of course, then again, we keep saying that about Ryan Tannehill. Sorry, Shelby. And he's still the freaking quarterback of the Titans.
Honest to God, people forget Ryan Tannehill went to A&M. Because
I think you forgot him because you never mentioned him. I did.
He was.
You know it's bad whenever I have to mention an Aggie quarterback.
Hey, he's just not my favorite Aggie.
I don't think he's anyone's favorite Aggie.
I don't know why they won't get a quarterback.
That's not true. He's probably
when he came out and said that about like it not being his job to help Malik Willis.
That was a little stupid.
Man, that's obviously you're not going to cut a guy for saying something like that. But
that was
like
crazy.
How could a coach stand in front of 53 dudes and say we're all together, we're brothers, we're a team, and then the face of your team goes out and says some shit like that? Like, and I know it's probably not even really that uncommon, and I'm sure a lot of guys probably have done that, but most of them are smart enough to not say the quiet part out loud. Like, if you don't want to help your replacement, then don't help them. But you don't go into an interview and say, no, I'm not going to help them.
Yeah, well,
that's my opinion of Ryan Tannehill.
I agree.
You got 3 bad situations with Tennessee. You have Ryan Tannehill starting overall. You have the guy who eats banana peels and mayonnaise with that. And then you have Malik Willis, who, after this past year, he's not that guy. So
sadly, I wanted him to succeed.
I did too.
I want Willis to succeed more than anybody else because I don't think Will Levis is a good quarterback at all, even at Kentucky.
Will Levis sucks. So
way.
For me, I would say Myles Garrett is my favorite Aggie.
He's everyone's favorite Aggie.
Frank Ragnow is my favorite Hog.
Okay, I like that.
I forgot about Ragnow.
And I said him earlier, so it kind of tipped my hand, but I'm a big fan of Ryan Kelly. Yes. I feel like centers don't get enough love, and I feel like he's like quietly just been like the best center in the NFL for the past like 3 or 4 years. And I mean, Ragnow's up there too, but like Ryan Kelly's just been like holding it down. And I liked him. I liked him a lot more than Landon Dickerson. Landon Dickerson being a Seminole and then a Bama player, anytime you get tainted by the garnet and gold, it makes it really easy for me to root against you.
Tainted.
But we converted him though. He's no longer got that bad blood in him. He's
Trust
No.
me, man. If you've ever been to Tallahassee, that stink doesn't come off easily.
Like Austin. Just can't do it.
My favorite Alabama guy right now, because of recency, probably Devontae Smith. I want to see him succeed.
he's got a tough line to be number one.
Yeah. Another one, I always used to have him on my fantasy team because he'd be a little sleeper, but Calvin Ridley. He was a good one.
He'll be a good pick for fantasy this year.
Yeah. I'll have to write that down.
Cindy's like,
Jag's got a lot of receivers. We'll have to do a fantasy show at a different time, though.
Yeah.
I can't get into fantasy because I will get too into it and I will never get done what I need to get done.
As long as you don't bet any money.
That happened to me last year.
Then again, you'll be suspended like, Jameson Williams and a lot of other NFL players. So
Aggie, Mike Evans. But I didn't really care about Mike Evans in the NFL until Tom was thrown to him. But I really have enjoyed watching him the past couple of years.
I feel like Mike doesn't get the love that, like, from Aggies that he deserves. People kind of just forget that he's there.
Yeah.
Like, Mike Evans is over here, like, breaking records and doing amazing things year after year, and y'all act like we don't have anybody in the league. Like, hello.
Yeah.
And he gives back. He's magical.
Gators, I'm going Jalen Ramsey.
That's FSU, and you just crushed me with that comment.
Oh!
That would be like me saying my favorite Arkansas player is Joe Burrow.
Oh,
My favorite LSU player is Joe Burrow.
you have a favorite LSU player?
Yeah. Joe Burrow.
She said, yeah. Like, it's the most obvious thing on this planet.
Duh.
Okay, we'll give you another shot and act like
Okay,
that.
Kyle Pitts.
I'm surprised no one else has said Kyle Pitts.
Kyle
Kyle
Pitts was.
Pitts hasn't done anything yet.
I
What do
was
you mean? He was a Pro Bowler as a rookie.
What do you mean
He
he
had
hasn't done
1,000
anything?
yards. He had 1,000 yards receiving as a rookie. He almost broke Mike Ditka's record.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything as a player in the NFL, according to Arthur Smith.
Well, Arthur Smith is. So my theory, and I'm going to try and speak this into existence, is that Arthur Smith gets fired this year. The Falcons end up probably getting a top 3 to 5 pick. They draft either Drake May or Caleb Williams and hire Kirby Smart to be their head coach.
And take Kirby Smart away from Georgia. Is that what you need?
They are not going to be bad this year. I think Atlanta's going to be either number 2 or pretty high up there.
Only because they play in the NFC South. Like,
What?
I feel like all 4 of those teams might just go 4-4 against each other.
No, I was about to say, wait a minute. Now, here's the thing about the NFC South. You got Tampa Bay. We're just going to throw them off to the side. You either have Bryce Young play like a rookie. You have Derek Carr being Derek Carr. Or you have – who's their quarterback? Desmond Ridder?
Mhm.
Just be the below average quarterback he is.
I mean, I feel like those 4 teams. How are you going to watch those games? Like, I'm not going to watch any of those games. Like, unless Cal Trask starts. Like, if Cal Trask starts for the Bucks, I'll probably watch some Bucks games. But
It'd be better if Michael Thomas would show up once in a while.
Yeah.
yeah, he's on the Odell Beckham calendar plan to where you play like 4 games, then you take the rest of the year off, then you sit out a season, then you come back and you're feeling rejuvenated, and then you come back for whatever team makes the Super Bowl, then you skip another season. I feel like Odell Beckham Jr. just hasn't played an actual season of football in like 7 years. I don't even think he's been in the league
I
that long.
can't stand Odell Beckham or Giants fans who love to post the picture of his catch that he made against the Cowboys. And I'm like, y'all remember y'all didn't win that game?
We're at the point I don't even remember him being with the Giants anymore.
Damn, you're right. I don't remember that.
The
That
only
was
reason
so
I
long
remember him
ago.
being with the Giants is because the version of Madden that he was on the cover of with the catch
Yeah.
was like my like that was like the version of Madden that got me into like Ultimate Team and stuff, and so it's really vividly like seared in my brain.
Yeah.
But on the field, like I don't. Besides him coming back to play for the Rams and then tearing his ACL, like that's the only thing I remember about Odell Beckham since the catch.
Here's my question.
Remember about Odell Beckham?
I remember his dad throwing a fit on Instagram about Baker Mayfield, pretty much,
I do
Posting
remember
the 8-minute video of all
Yeah.
the missed.
of him getting disrespected.
Yeah.
Here's my question.
No money on the LSU sideline too.
Yep. He did
Yep.
get LSU in
Yeah.
trouble for handing out $500 to players or whatever.
Okay, sorry, Michael. Go ahead.
It was good. Do we remember Odell Beckham from the Giants, the Browns, the Rams, or the Bucks?
I remember him as a Giant because I'm a Cowboys fan.
The Browns.
I would probably say Giants and Browns would be the two that.
See, here's the problem with me. Whenever I think of Odell Beckham, I don't know what I picture him as. I
Me
think of
either.
I think of Rob Lowe when he wears that NFL hat, like just straight up like generic jersey, like no team logo. That's what I think of when I think of Odell Beckham.
He did enough hopping around that you're like, whatever. You're a football player. Congratulations.
Mhm. I think
Now
it's
I think he
hilarious.
plays for Baltimore. So
He
good luck
does.
with that.
He did start that whole like bleach top part of
Mhm.
hair trend, the Odell Beckham look. Speaking of which, as I'm not sure how old y'all are, but as roughly millennials here, how crazy is it that in our lifetime we've had not one but two Beckhams like create a fashion movement? Posh Spice, David Beckham, and then Odell Beckham with the hair. You know, I
I
mean,
never
it's.
thought of that before.
I didn't think about it until this moment. It's really probably not even that. It's definitely not a relevant reference anymore because David Beckham and Posh Spice are definitely aging myself a little bit here. But I don't know. I didn't think about that until like, and you see like, and I guess Patrick Mahomes kind of has the same thing too, where it's like the shaved sides.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of supplanted the Odell Beckham
Mohawk
hair.
kind of
But
deal.
the Odell Beckham hair was a big thing for a little while there.
Yeah, it was.
There's a game at Target that my sister decided to show me today called "You're Too Old for This" or something like that, and it's literally cards that ask you if you know what certain things are or what certain things mean, and if you don't, then you're too old.
Oh my god.
And I
That's
was
very
like,
subjective.
like why? Like this hurts me. Also, A&M
Oh,
posted class of 2028 is applying this year.
Those like numbers always freak me out.
2018. And I'm like, what do you mean class of 2028? Excuse me?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the girl in Pitch Perfect. Excuse me?
Jeez.
I had a cashier at Winn-Dixie take my ID, and he's like, 1990? He's like, wow, I'm half as old as you. And I'm just like, thanks for that. And he's just like, oh, yeah. And he's like, he's like, oh, my mom's you're almost the same age as my mom. She's 40. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, you really just doubled down on it? Like,
Why do you
I
continue?
was like, I'm not even old. I'm 32 years old. Like, I'm not even old. What are you talking about? Get out of here, kid. Give me my beer. You're not even supposed to be selling me beer. Get out of here.
That's how I literally feel right now with like the teachers that I'm working with. They're all first year, second year teachers, and they're like 22, 23. And I'm like, I'm 28. It's fine.
Yeah, I have
Just
the
turned
opposite
25.
thing. Everybody I work with is older than me, and it's always been like weird because it's I don't know. I like to call them the dinosaurs because in the tech industry there's a lot of folks who they work at the same place for 25 years and then they know the way they want to do it, and they're very rigid, and then they retire. And so coming across folks like that, it's always interesting because technology changes very quickly. And people who are stuck with how it was done in like 2003, for me, I'm like, I was in middle school, so I don't know what you're talking about. I never saw that because I was 13 when this stuff was made. So sorry.
Sorry about you.
Yeah, sorry, you're older than me. Just hit him with an okay boomer and walk away.
So, okay. Players that are seniors or juniors this year that you think can make it in the NFL next year or the next year, the 2024 draft.
Like make it, or get drafted.
At least get drafted.
Okay.
So for me, I think I would probably say 2, maybe 3 players that we have probably for sure going in the first round. JC Latham, we have Kool-Aid McKinstry, which is an awesome name. And then
Even
we
though
have
it's not
Dallas
his
Turner.
real name, so it doesn't count.
What's that?
It's not his real name, doesn't count.
Kool-Aid. So Johnny Football, we can get rid of that too, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not his real name. Nor is it that cool.
I can see you lying through the computer screen right now.
Literally not even a thing. Okay?
To be fair, Johnny Manziel wasn't really cool anyway, so.
He beat Alabama. But of course, so did Zach
I
Calzada.
love Johnny Manziel. No Johnny Manziel slander from you.
Alabama's beating Alabama, so it doesn't matter.
Only time we played Johnny Manziel, we beat him. So I'm cool with Johnny Manziel.
So he gets the.
No hard feelings for me.
Did you see he's opening a bar in College Station, Shelby?
He is. So somebody
That's very typical.
somebody posted what other former A&M players should open businesses in College Station, and it's literally the funniest article I've ever seen in my entire life. Like Jaworski Lane should open a
Bowling alley.
bowling alley. Yeah,
That's a throwback right there. I had not thought about Jaworski Lane in a long time.
we're friends on Facebook.
Really? That's
Why?
cool.
I've never met the guy in my life, but we're friends on Facebook.
He was a cheat code in Madden as well. He was
Yep.
like 280, and you just hand him the ball, he just runs people over.
I'm gonna hit him up and be like, "Hey, you want to be on my podcast?"
As long as we're going A&M like players getting their own business, I think Myles Garrett needs his own boxing ring.
Yeah.
Von Miller should open a sunglass hut.
He already
Yes.
has Vaughn's vision.
I am pro like Vaughn's
There we
vision
go.
for sure. I'm also pro Garrett's boxing ring.
Can you throw helmets at people?
Yes, especially if that quarterback is Zach Robinson.
You cannot convince me that he wasn't trying to put his helmet back on his head.
Dude, I was pro Garrett there. So
Apparently, he called what's his bucket? Whatever the quarterback's name was, I can't even think of his name now.
Robinson.
Uh,
No.
It was Mason
Mason
Rudolph.
Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph.
Oklahoma State quarterback. I don't know why I was thinking.
That call. Apparently, he called him the N-word, and that's why he got upset.
I heard that.
Yeah,
that's
what-
why I support.
Which adds up because no one, like having gone to school with Miles, he's not an angry human being. He's just
That
not.
was a very weird thing for Myles Garrett to do, but not to speculate on it or anything, but Mason Rudolph and his teammates basically said like that's not what happened, because if that happened, like, don't you think we would have had a problem with it too? Like it's not like Myles Garrett was the only
Yeah, I
person
heard that
around who
too.
would have had an issue with it, and nobody else even reacts to it except for Myles Garrett, who gets very upset. So it's football in the heat of the moment. Maybe you hear something. Maybe he did say it. I don't really know. It's none of my business really. But that's the thing to me, that it's like, generally speaking, if you're gonna drop the N-word, you're gonna have people, more than one person, especially. Then nobody else reacts to it, so it's almost weird. I don't know.
It's interesting.
I'll leave it at that.
would like
I
to
will
point
leave
out-
that topic alone. And
I would
leave
like
it
to
at that.
point out that every NFL quarterback has a mic and I think a camera at that point too. And it just so happened that there I go again, Robinson.
Mason
Rudolph's mic was off at that time.
Well, they
So
kill the
that's-
mics in between plays. The after, I think it's like with 15 seconds left on the play clock or something, the communications gets killed, so they can get the play in, and then after that way they're not telling you like what to do during the play.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
But like I said, I don't know. Miles, Like, unless, of course, it's possible that he's changed and he's grown up and he's different. But in college, he was very like, I'm just chill. I just want to play football and talk about dinosaurs and enjoy my life.
That's a bro.
Like,
That
that's
is
all.
straight up
He
bro.
literally told our history professor that when he finished playing football, he was going to retire from football and he was going to go back to school and be a paleontologist.
Hell yes.
Good.
Pivot.
Pivot! But literally, I was like, okay. Like, you do that.
I can respect that. Yeah.
I almost didn't get that pivot reference. I was thinking Jurassic Park. I wasn't thinking of any mid show that you guys were talking about.
Well, no, you see, you get it because he's pivoting into a new career, and Ross was a
Oh.
paleontologist, so it works on multiple levels. But
but Friends is a mid show, so
all I know is from my wife telling me in the GIF. So, but hey, it worked. I saw an opportunity. I took it. I regret nothing.
Proud of
I
you.
almost didn't get that reference.
Thank you.
Proud of you. Let's see. Aggies that could make the NFL. McKinley Jackson. We call him Mount McKinley. Kid is huge and good. Oh my God, what is his name? Starts with a D. Damani Richardson plays safety. Real good kid. Real sweet kid. Came back for his senior season just because he's like, look, last year was bullshit. And I'm coming back and we're going to fix it, pretty much. He's also the one that had that touchdown return against Arkansas. Sydney's favorite.
Mm-hmm. My absolute favorite.
She's going to be like, I hope Damani Richardson becomes a Patriot.
We'll take it. We'll take it. From Arkansas, KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders.
Is KJ going to learn how to not lean the ball from the 5-yard line?
As long as he has a competent person speaking to him. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone not named Kendall Briles.
Or Bill O'Brien.
For Florida, I'll say Jason Marshall's probably going to be a first-round pick. And then Princely Umanmielen. I think that right now he's probably like a third-round pick. I think he can have a big year and go higher than that. We probably have a few other guys, like our offensive linemen. We have a few offensive linemen that I think will get drafted, but there's no fun in talking about offensive linemen.
I just mentioned
Oh.
Latham.
I forgot.
Yeah, but he's a first rounder. I don't think any of our offensive linemen are going to be a first rounder. So after the first round, like we had Osiris Torrance go in the second round this past year, and he was an All-American and everything. But he was a guard. So unless you're a tackle, you have to be really exceptional, like a Quentin Nelson type, to go in the first round as a guard.
I forgot my favorite human being, Anais Smith, who came back after that injury. And all I want is him to do well. Like, if nobody else gets drafted from this team, I want it to be Anais. And there was a lady behind us at the A&M Arkansas game when Anais went down that said he was faking the injury so we could get a timeout. And I wanted to turn around and punch her in the face.
I remember you talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it came out that he was standing on the sidelines in his dad's arms crying because he was in so much pain. And I wanted to turn around and show her the tweet and be like, look, he's not faking it.
You should have said, yeah, don't you feel like shit now, lady?
Like, don't you feel like shit? And then but it's okay because then the oink doink happened and she was very upset and I was happy.
Yeah.
Sydney's just thriving after that.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, like, it's not like that was the last 2 seconds of the game. So it's not like even if that field goal makes it, it's not like the game's over.
Yeah.
So that's why when people are like, "Oh, we won that game because of the oink doink," I'm like, no. Like, it's still possible that we could have still won.
A competent human being with a pea-sized brain. That's why. Yeah.
Oink Doink, and Kick Six are both.
Oink
I'm
doink
pretty.
is pretty much the best name of a single play. Yep.
I think the Kick
Yeah.
Six is a shitty name.
I mean, you know, and you know, the prayer at Jordan Hare.
I was about to say that one.
That one doesn't. When you say it properly, it doesn't sound as good as when you bring in that Southern accent, make it like prayer at Jordan.
Hare.
Prayer at Jordan Hare. Yeah, exactly. He said he knew where I was going with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, those two plays and them happening in the same season like that to the same team makes it even crazier to me. But Oink Doink's pretty tough to beat.
See, the problem with like Bama fans, like outside of like the early years where it's like the 80s, 70s, maybe even early 90s, is like the really great plays, like the Jonathan Allen sack dive, the Superman dive, and then the Najee Harris like hurdle over a standing player. Like there's really no names for that, like officially. I called them the Superman sack and the Najee hurdle. Like those are two of my favorite players as well. So I just hate that we don't have like names for I know they're not game changing, but they're still freaking.
They're still
awesome.
good. Yeah.
We got the Henry Heat
guess-
at Ole Miss.
I guess
That was
you'll-
amazing.
Oh, that
I guess
play.
the only other thing you could say is the 2nd and 26. But is there a name for that?
I mean, I think if you say 2nd and 26, I think that within college
4th and
football,
25.
yeah, I mean, I think that even though it's not like a cool, catchy name, I think it still hits home, if that makes sense. I'm trying to think of some other examples, but like it was such a notable play, like all the situation around it. 2nd and 26, you know exactly Tua to Devontae in the national championship. Yeah.
Probably the
My
last.
favorite plays were Moose Muhammad against LSU last season, and just those like monster catches that he made. Like he could be good in the NFL, just like his dad was. Moose.
Moose. Every time he touches the ball.
Moose. I love that there's not a single A&M receiver on any kind of like watch list or any of that. And I'm like, okay.
It does seem
And
accurate though.
Ward and Moose would like a word. But okay.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, Ricky
Oh,
Pearsall's on the Blitnikoff watch list, and see, maybe the Bernie Bumble, maybe the something alliterative, because it was Brock Bowers on Bernie, and that play was crazy, but it didn't really end up deciding the game. It was more than one touchdown, so it wasn't quite as iconic. We'll have to think about some plays that need to be named. We'll have to play some clips and do some research here to try and brainstorm some names.
Oh Lord, brains. Do I get to make an anchor chart?
Maybe.
I have scented markers.
Perfect.
That's what we need for our podcast / stream. The scented markers. The cleat E.
Please.
For we see this is the perfect way to wrap up the show, I think.
That was
because
a petty move. I loved it.
We started off with Marco Wilson. We're ending with Marco Wilson. You guys have already. Sydney said her favorite Florida player was Jalen Ramsey. Like, how much pain
Same
must I
state.
endure?
Isn't he
That-
hurt right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Mitch. We didn't forget. We would
that
never
play
forget.
that play. It's a comedy of errors. Looking at the past 5 years of Florida football. But
All
it's only
things
5
in
years.
Marco Wilson.
Well, what's the Oppenheimer quote? I am become death. That's Marco Wilson for Florida football.
Or
thought it was
listen, I don't know.
Barbie
I saw Barbie.
Fair, yeah.
My little cousin and I went with my little cousin, and she was so excited the entire time. Most of the jokes went over her head. Obviously, she's sick, but she was so excited. It's all pink. It's all sparkly. We were like, yes. Now I am become Marco Wilson, the destroyer of worlds.
Oh man, it always goes back to that play.
On
Thanks,
that
guys.
note,
Thanks for that trip down memory lane once again. On air, I get to have an existential crisis about the stupidity that is Marco Wilson.
I'm pretty sure I had an existential crisis when Kate and I used to do this show, and John during college, whatever it was, the revolving door of A&M quarterbacks. They're like, who's gonna be the quarterback? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Leave me alone.
You know, honestly, I think we could do a whole episode on Florida versus LSU games from the past like 10 years
You could.
because we have the cleat eat. Even last year, there was a crazy play that decided it. The 2019 game was kind of a blowout because that was like a stacked team. But in 2016, I think we had to play them in a rematch game because of Hurricane Matthew, and there was some circumstances to where we were tied for the SEC East, and so we had to play them to win the SEC East. And if we lost, it was going to be like Georgia or Tennessee or something. And so the whole time, LSU fans were saying we were scared. We were trying to dodge them. We didn't want to play them because they knew they were going to beat us. And then there's like an 8-play goal line stand in that game that basically decided the outcome. And the only touchdown we scored the entire game was on a 98-yard pass. And like the Florida LSU games are fucking insanity every year. There's always some crazy shit. God, Marco Wilson, why are you the way you are?
Cleat.
Eat.
Anybody have any other players they're watching this year before we go? Can be from any team.
I'm not watching any other teams except for Florida, so I'm going to say Austin Barber, left tackle. I think he has a chance to be really good.
I'm looking to see how hard Caleb Williams is going to crash, this season at USC, and probably through the NFL draft boards. Here's the thing, though. It's not going to be Caleb Williams, and it's not going to be Drake Maye as the top quarterbacks, according to Mel Kiper. It's going to be Spencer Rattler.
Will Rogers isn't going to be as good as people think.
I'm ready for Spencer Rattler to get out of college football because I am so tired
Spencer Rattler just throw a touchdown against Tennessee, like right now?
I can't stand him.
Yeah.
I can't either.
We shut him down, so that's all that matters to me.
Spencer Rattler just reminds me of like a slightly better Tate Martell.
Oh, Tate Martell.
I'm pretty sure they went to the same high school too.
Bishop Gorman.
Yeah.
And by the way, Mitch, yes, I am stoked for Caleb Downs, and I'm trying to keep my optimism like kind of mid right now because he is a freshman. I can't be too excited for freshmen, but yeah, I'm excited for him. Like I've wanted him to start ever since he joined like the team. Also, because I knew our defensive backs needed a bad makeover. If we have 5'9" DeMarcus Helms covering Jalen Hyatt for 5 freaking plays, all of them turn touchdowns. I'm still mad about that. I'm still mad that. Hey, whoever is an Ole Miss fan, have freaking fun with Pete Golding. I've said it for years. Pete Golding is a shit defensive coordinator.
There you go. I want our offensive line coach to go, but he's only in his second year. And last year we went from like one of the best lines to like way down here, and we're like, Coach, what did you do? You broke it.
Isn't Steve Adazio your offensive line coach?
That's just the Jimbo Fisher like coaching though. Let's be honest.
I don't know what to expect out of our new guys, but
You got KJ Jefferson at least. At least
Yeah.
you have a quarterback that's coming back. You know,
Who's your
you
offensive
two up.
coordinator? Isn't it Dan Enos?
yep.
He'll be good.
Oh yeah.
He looked really good at
Briles
Miami
is
last
the
year.
ultimate hit or miss with SEC coordinators.
I hate Kendall Briles.
Doesn't everybody?
Yes.
No, he was irrelevant to us because we just got beaten them, so it doesn't matter.
Sad.
Poor Arkansas.
I'm sorry.
They got all that Walmart money. They'll be okay.
At least you're not Missouri or Vanderbilt or Texas A&M. So
Yeah.
Love you too. So much love in this room.
hey, next year though we get to shit on Texas.
Go.
Yeah.
I don't even care about shit on Oklahoma that much. We get to shit on Texas and
TU.
perhaps Florida State now.
TU. Because, UT is Tennessee. Capital TU is Tulane, so it's lowercase TU.
Mm.
Shelby, nobody's playing by these rules. They're both UT. They're all UT. Yes.
That's like USC with South Carolina, Southern Cal. Who cares? They're
It's
both.
USC Junior.
USC Junior.
I also say USC
Oklahoma
Junior.
State is Okie Light. That's what we used to call them when we were in the Big 12 was Okie Light.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. Those are the only two that like OSU, USC. I did see a tweet to where Bud Elliott said that Gamecock fans trying to say they're the real USC is like Fresno State trying to say they're the real FSU. And as much as I like to shit on FSU, I was like, damn,
They've
that's
been the
actually
most
it's pretty
relevant.
solid.
They've been the most relevant, to be fair.
Fresno State,
Yes.
man.
Which Columbia is bad Columbia?
Yes, they're both bad Columbia.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to vote the one north of me.
I've never been to Columbia, Missouri, but I was not impressed with Columbia, South Carolina.
I've been to South Carolina. It was okay. There's a lot of walking.
Okay.
Their stadium kind of looks like a toilet bowl. It's fine.
Mm. I don't like their lights. They're
Me
kind
neither.
of freaky.
Mm-hmm.
And the chicken squawking noise, it's not cute.
And Darude Sandstorm, like
It's
that
better
was
than the
funny for a
freaking
while,
Barbie.
but it's not funny anymore.
All right. I think we are able to wrap up, my friends. We will see you next week for is it the East preview?
I think it's the West.
Is it the East or the West? Now I have to check.
We are professionals. This,
Now I
this
have to
Are we
check.
though?
Solid.
It's the East. Yes. The East is the 9th. The West is the 16th. Thanks and gig 'em.
Gross. It's gross.